Okay, so let's talk about distance time graph, and we have been talking about what is distance and what is speed, and the concepts are actually, I hope they're clear to you. So let's actually talk about graph. So what is graph? Graph is basically a tool or a technique or a method to represent data. So we could actually be saying that, okay, the car actually just went uh, at 2 meters per second, and then it went for the next 3 meters, it went for like 3 meters per second, and for next 30 meters, it went for like 7 meters per second. We could be actually saying a very lengthy story about the journey of the car, or we could just simply drawing a line in order to represent the whole journey. So let's see how we can do that. For example, there's a car that actually has the velocity of 0 meters per second in the start, and after like say 2 seconds, after 2 seconds, the velocity is now, for example, 6 meters per second, and then after, let's say, another 2 seconds, so total of 4 seconds, the speed is now, let's say, uh, okay, since actually we are not actually discussing the speed, since we are actually talking about the distance, so we won't actually be talking about speed just yet. We will actually be talking about speed in the next video, but in this video, let's actually talk about the position of the car. So in the start, the position of the car is, let's say, at 0 meters, and then after 2 seconds, it went to like 4 meters, and for the next a couple of 2 seconds, a total of like 4 seconds, it went up till like 10 meters, and then for the next 2 seconds, a total of 6 seconds, it went like 12 meters, and then next couple of seconds, a total of 8 seconds, it went up to, like, for example, 16 meters, right? So this is how the car actually traveled. So we can just plot these points here on the graph. So at 0 seconds, the car was at 0 meters, so we're going to draw a point at origin, and at 2 seconds, the car actually was at 4 meter of total distance. So it traveled four meters of total distance. So we're going to draw a point at, or just right in front of four, and just right in front of two on the x-axis. On the x-axis, we have the time, right, in seconds, and on the y-axis, we have the distance, right? So distance in meters, right? And after 4 seconds, the car actually traveled up till 10 meters, right? So it's not that it actually traveled further 10 meters. It is the total of 10 meters that it has traveled. So further of 6 meters have been traveled, right? So it will go up till 10 meters. So the car will now be here, right, in front of 10 meters. And at 6 seconds, it is 12 meters. So it is going to be here. And at 8 seconds, it is going to be 16. So it is going to be here, right? And then we can just connect all these points together with a very smooth curve like this, and this will actually give you a sketch of how the car travels. So the steeper the line is, the more vertical it is, the higher the speed of it is going to be, which is basically the gradient. We'll be discussing what gradient tells you in next couple of videos, but you can just actually see that instead of just drawing all these scenarios or writing all the story down, that how car actually traveled and how the speed of it changed, we can see, okay, it was first slow, then it increased here, and then slowed down here, and then sort of increased at the end, right? So if the car just goes all the way flat, that means it stopped. And now the time is passing, but it is still staying at 16-meter point. And then if it suddenly starts to go up, we can see in less time, it is now increasing the distance. So it is now increasing its speed. So the curve would actually tell us about the sketch or the journey that the car actually had. So for example, we can have a curve like this. So we can say the car was actually pretty slow. It was the time was passing, but it was not covering much of the distance. That's why this curve is flat. But after this point, till this point, the time actually did not pass. A couple of seconds passed, but the car actually went from 4 meters all the way up till 12 meters. So a great speed was observed from 12 seconds to 14 seconds. So a sketch can easily tell us about a graph can easily tell us about the journey that the car had. For example, a line like this would tell us that, okay, this is a straight line. That means the car actually traveled at a constant velocity, and it went all the way at a constant velocity and did not stop, did not slow down, did not accelerate it. At zero acceleration, constant velocity, it went all the way throughout its journey.